Hello everyone, my name is Priya Mehta and welcome to the channel Spick and Span Learning. Today we are going to read class 10, chapter number 1 from the first flight, and name of the chapter is A Letter to God. A Letter to God is a story of faith. Okay, let's understand what is the title, meaning of the title. A letter to God. Everyone has seen what is a letter. Why do we use a letter? A letter is used to convey messages or any information, whatever we want to share. It is written on a piece of paper and then it is sent to the recipient, whoever we want to send it to. Okay, so this is called a letter. It is a kind of a way of communication. So in this chapter we see a letter is written and it is sent to none other than God. Have you ever thought of sending any letter to God? I have not. Okay, so let's see why somebody writes a letter to God and whether it reaches to God or not, and if he gets it, if God gets the letter, then what is the reply to it? So let us start it. Before starting the chapter, there is a activity given for you. This is how to send money order, how to send money to somebody. Okay, so this is you can go through it, how everything is written in detail. It's stepwise. You have to fill the form of money order and how you are going to send it. Okay, so I'm not going there. We will just start the chapter directly. So beginning is the house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. So there is a hill, there is a low hill. Hill is a part which is not flat, which is just above some, at some height from the ground. So there was a low hill, and on the crest of it, crest means top part of it, on the crest of the hill there was only one house in the entire valley, and that in that one house somebody is there. Let's see. From this height one could see the river and the field of the ripe corn, dotted with flowers that always promised a good harvest. So from that house, as it was at the top of the hill, so anybody could see rivers which were flowing from there, rivers and the fields which had ripened corn, and they all were dotted with flowers, beautiful flowers. And that ripened corns or the field, they promised a good harvest. It was a kind of promise to the farmer that this year you are going to get a very good harvest, which is the livelihood for any farmer. And there, what happens then? The only thing the earth needed was a downpour, or at least a shower. At this moment, when it was the time to harvest, only one thing was left, and that was rain. Downpour means rain. Rain or heavy rain was needed for it to be ready for the harvest, and the farmer who was sitting there was waiting for the same. Shower and downpour are the same thing. Throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Lencho is the main character of this story. So Lencho was sitting there on the hill and he was watching his fields, and he was waiting for the rain to come, because he loved his fields, and he knew that nothing else, only this rain is about to come and everything will be done. He will be happiest of the ever. So he was watching to the sky towards northeast direction. Now we are really going to get some water. Woman, the woman who was preparing supper replied, "Yes, God will." He talks to a woman, so we should suppose it that that woman was none other than Lencho's wife. So he was talking to that lady and he says that, really, water is about to come, it is about to rain. Woman who was preparing supper. Supper means dinner. She was preparing dinner for him and the children, and she replied, yes, surely we can see to the sky. Sky was cloudy, and it was that God is willing to give them rain. The older boys were working in the fields while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the woman called to them all, come for dinner. So there were some children also who were elder. They were doing some work in the field, and the smaller ones, smaller children, they were playing outside. So their mother calls them for the dinner. Just as Lencho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. As Lencho was saying that God is willing to give us good harvest with the rain, and yes, his prediction was right, and it started to pour, and big drops of rain began to fall. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. Approaching means coming towards them. So clouds were coming toward them from the mountain side, from the northeast direction, from where he was watching. The air was fresh and sweet. Due to that rain, the whole atmosphere changed, and there was some sweetness in the air. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. He loved rain. So he went out of his house and he started to experience that rain falling on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed, these aren't raindrops falling from the sky, they are new coins. And as he was very happy, so he started exclaiming, and he said that these raindrops are not just water, not just drops of rain, but these are coins, new coins. Coin means money. He was thinking about the result, what will happen after it. As the rain is pouring, after this they will have good harvest, and due to which he will get good amount of money. So he was very much happy at that time. The big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are 5. Big drops are 10 cents and little ones are 5 cents. As we can say that is 5 rupees or 10 rupees in our language. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a curtain of rain. He was very much satisfied, content that his wait was over, and this was the time the whole field was covered with the raindrops. But suddenly, a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstorm began to fall. Suddenly, things changed. Not only rain, but there came storm. Storm means very strong wind, and they are maximum time they are destructive. So what he saw that the strong wind began to blow with the rain, and then started hailstorm. Hailstones are the hailstone or hails. In Hindi we can say ole. That is with rain when there are snow, not snow but balls of ice. Balls of ice fell from the sky. That is called as hail or hailstones. So that also began, and these truly did resemble new silver coins. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. And then the children, who were very happy with that balls of ice, they ran out to get all of them. They started collecting them just like they were the frozen pearls. It's really getting bad now, exclaimed the man. Man here means Rancho. Rancho, who was not expecting this, when he saw that hailstorm started, so he was very much worried about it, and he said that it's not good. It's really bad now. I hope it passes quickly. And he was just wishing, oh God, this passes quickly so that his field will be saved from the hail. It did not pass quickly. For an hour the hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley. The field was white as if covered with salt. And not little, but the hail was so much. It rained so much that they were just waiting for it, but it did not stop. It rained for hours and hours, and then at the end, everything was covered in white colored ice. Whether it was their house, the hill, the field, each and everything, everywhere they could see only ice and ice. And due to which it was looking like there was a sheet of salt. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. So, this was the result of the hailstorm. Nothing was left in the cornfield. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons. Then he says something, and what he says? A plague of locusts would have left more than this. A plague of locust means a swarm of locust. Locust is a kind of insect that eats leaf and it destroys fields. So he is saying that even a group of locusts would have left more than it. But right now, because of this hailstorm, nothing is left here. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn. That night was sorrowful one. All our work for nothing. There's no one who can help us. We will all go hungry this year. So these are the conversation, or you can say that Lencho is expressing his sadness to his family members, to his wife and his children, and he was saying that the whole night was sorrowful for him. He was not able to convince himself that how he will go through it. So he is just saying that all our work, whole year he was working for it, and right now everything was just destroyed and there was nothing to eat for the next year. They had to survive for whole year now, and after that they have left nothing with. So what they will eat? This was a big question for them. So he says that we have to go hungry this year. There are some questions that we will not deal right now. We'll do it later on in some other video. So here I am continuing the chapter. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope: help from God. So this is a very powerful statement, that is help from God. Everybody of the house who was sorrowful, what they said, they see is that there was nothing left, but there is someone who can help us. And that there is a word solitary. Solitary house. Solitary means alone. When there is nobody else, that is called as solitary. So in that lonely house in the middle of that valley, there were some people, and they were Lencho and his family. So they were thinking that yes, we have left with nothing, but there is someone who can help us, and that is God. Don't be so upset, even though this seems like a total loss. Remember, no one dies of hunger. So somebody says that no one dies of hunger because God is there for everyone. So God is there to help us, so no need to worry for this. That's what they say. No one dies of hunger. And then everybody repeats the same thing. Means they all have believed in this sentence. All through the night, Lencho thought only of his one hope, the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience. conscious. So he got to this and he was ready for this, and he started to hoping the same. What he has said, he started believing on himself, he started believing in God, and he was ready to do something. There was a belief in his eyes. So what he says, or what he prepares for. Lencho was an ox of a man working like an animal in the fields, but still he knew how to write. Lencho was an ox of men. An ox of men means very hard working person. So Lencho was a very hard working farmer, but it doesn't mean that he did not know how to read or write. So he knew how to write. The following Sunday, at daybreak, he began to write a letter which he himself would carry to town and place in the mail. So he thought something, he had an idea, and on the next Sunday only he was ready with the idea. And what was that? He, at the daybreak means dawn. At the dawn only, when the first light of sun comes to the earth, that is called as daybreak. So at the daybreak only, he started to write a letter, and he decided that he will carry the same to the town and he will mail it. It was nothing less than a letter to God. Okay, so he was ready to write, and he has written that letter to God. God, he wrote what he had written there. So he wrote that, God, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes, because the hailstorm ... This ... means goes on. So his letter goes on. He has written to God. He has written everything, that what has happened to them. He writes there that, oh God, you know that because of the hailstorm, everything is just finished. We don't have anything left with it. So kindly give me some money. And how much money he asked for? He asked for 100 pesos. He says that, God, please send me 100 pesos with which I can sow the field again, and till the time it will be ripened and for the harvest, I will be able to survive. Not only he asked for the survival of his family. Alright, so he writes all this in the letter, and then he wrote to God on the envelope. On the envelope where we have to write the address, there he just wrote to God, because he did not know anything else. Put the letter inside, and still troubled, went to town. At the post office, he placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox, as we all do. So he dropped the letter in the mailbox. One of the employees, who was a postman and also helped at the post office, went to his berth laughing heartily and showed him the letter to God. So there was a man who was also the postman. He took the letter, he saw, and he found it so funny that he went to his boss. He showed that letter to his boss and said, and just shown, and they started laughing heartily. Heartily means full of laughter, very happily. Because why they were laughing? Because it was not any ordinary letter, it was a letter written to God. Never in his career as a postman had he known that address. The postmaster, a fat, amiable fellow, also broke out laughing, but almost immediately he turned serious and, tapping the letter on his desk, commented, "What faith! I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter." Starting up a correspondence with God. So when postmaster saw that, he also laughed in the beginning, but then he realized that it was not a funny thing. It was a thing for self-reliance. He started thinking, and he started commenting on it, that what a faith this man has. We do not have so much faith that we can directly talk or we can send a letter to God. See, he has so much faith that yes, God is there for him and he will surely help that man. He has sent a letter to God expressing all his sorrow there. So, in order not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came up with an idea. Answer the letter. So, postmaster had an idea that, okay, if somebody has faith in God, we should support that man so that his faith will be concrete. So, he says that we have to do something for it. And then he had some idea, and the idea was we are going to reply this letter. But when he opened it, it was evident that to answer it he needed something more than goodwill. Goodwill means something good wish. When you think good for others, that is called goodwill. So when he opened the letter, and what he found, that it was not only the thing that you are going to reply it. It was not only goodwill required for the reply of it, but something more. Then what was that? Ink and paper. Okay, I had not completed that sentence. More than goodwill, ink and paper. Paper to write. But he stuck to his resolution. Resolution means the promise that he has done with himself. So he stuck with it. He was in a trouble condition that how to do this. He asked for money from his employees. You know what was written inside the letter? That God sent me 100 pesos. So it was required 100 pesos to reply to that man from God's side. So he asked for money from his employees. He himself gave part of his salary, and the several friends of his were obliged to give something for an act of charity. It was a kind of act of charity for that poor person. So many people were ready for it. Not only postmaster, but his fellow employees and other friends, all of them gave some part of their money or their salary, and then it was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos, so he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half. More than half. Half is 50, so little more than half they were able to collect and send it. He put the money in an envelope addressed to Lencho, and with it a letter containing only a single word as a signature, God. So they had collected money that was just more than 50, and at the end of the letter it was written God, so that Lencho should understand it is from God. The following Sunday, Lencho came a bit earlier than usual to ask if there was a letter for him. As Lencho was expecting that God will surely reply to him. So he went there earlier than ever, and there he asked for a letter, that whether there is some letter for me. It was the postman himself who handed the letter to him, while the postmaster, experiencing the contentment of a man who has performed a good deed, looked on from his office. So postman gave the letter to Rancho himself, and from somewhere postmaster was also watching it, and he wanted to experience that, and that was the experience. What was the experience of doing something good for somebody? So he was very contented, he was very much satisfied that he was able to, the postmaster was able to help a person who is not only in the need of money, but he had faith also. So he did so. Lencho showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money. Such was his confidence, but he became angry when he counted the money. Lencho was very confident that yes, God will surely send me the money. So he was not surprised at looking at the money or the letter. And when he counted, then his face showed that he was very much angry with it. God could not have made a mistake, nor could he have denied Lencho what he had requested. Now Lencho is thinking. Lencho thinks that God cannot make mistake in counting. What was the counting? Counting of the money. He needed 100 pesos, but there was less than it. So he says that God cannot make such mistake. Neither he can deny the request made by Lencho. So what happened? Why there is less money? Immediately, Lencho went up to the window to ask for paper and ink. On the public writing table, he started to write with much wrinkling of his brow. Wrinkling, you can see, this is wrinkling. When your brows is shortened, as to just show either surprise or confusion or hard work, very much effort, you apply some effort to do something, then this brows come together, and that is called wrinkling. So with the wrinkling of his brow caused by the effort he had made to express his ideas, he was writing a letter there in this way. So what was his writing? When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp which he licked and then affixed to the envelope with the blue of his fist. With the blue of his fist means he has written the letter, then he stamped it, and he did everything what a letter is required to mail. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it. So as everybody was watching Lencho what he was doing, so Lencho completed writing, then he stamped and he mailed that. As he did it, then postmaster ran from there, and he came to open the letter, and he did it. And what was there? It said, the letter said, God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. But don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Lencho. So in that letter, in the second letter, Rancho has written that God, you have sent me 100 pesos, but I got only 70 pesos, because the employees of this post office, they are a bunch of crooks. Crooks means criminals, dishonest. So people of this office are very much dishonest. You have sent 100 pesos, but they have stolen my 30 pesos, and only 70 pesos are left for me. So what he says, Lencho says that please send me the rest of the money, I am in need of it. And at the same time, he made some condition there. What is the condition? He asked for the 70 pesos, read me, send the rest since I need it very much, but don't send it to me through the mail. Send me through some other way, not through mail, because God, if you will send it again to me through mail, these people who are working here in the post office, they might take it away again. They can steal again. So please don't send me through the mail. So this is the end of this story. And what does we see here? What do we find? What is the moral of this story? We see that how one person, Lencho, had faith in God. He believes that God is not only a name, He is somebody who is always there with us. As we say, God is all around, God is in our heart. So we should believe in Him. God will never let anybody go hungry. Very powerful statements are given here, and we should learn and remember these things. God will never let anybody be hungry. God is everywhere. And if you have faith in doing anything, not only God, the whole universe will help you for it. As in the letter, it was not sent to the God, but postman and postmaster and all the people of the office, everybody of them gave some part of their money to the person whom they did not know. Why they helped? Why they gave their money? Because they wanted this faith in God to continue. So have faith in God. If you have true faith in somebody or something, surely things will work. Nothing can stop you if you have true faith. So, as I said in the beginning only, this is a story of faith. Alright, so I hope you have understood this chapter. I will try to continue this book for some more chapters. Okay, if you like it, if you are understanding, kindly comment there in the box so that I can find out whether it is helpful for you or not. Thank you.